So I want to know, I've been thinking about it. When did the word healing become a thing when it comes to personal growth and, um, you know, raising your vibration and all that sort of stuff? I mean, healing is when you cut yourself and the skin heals, right? But when did it become a thing that healing had to do with somehow we're broken in some way? Because I've just been thinking about it the last couple of days, and way back when the healers, but they weren't called healers then, they were called shamans and sages, and they were the wise, uh, the wise people of the tribe, and people went to them for counsel, right, for guidance, not because there was something broken, but because they were in a space of needing a new point of view, or looking at something from a different perspective, or asking for future guidance, right? Like what's going to happen to me in the future and all of those things. There was no healing other than the body, right? Healing the body. There was, a broken bone, or a woman was birthing and something, went the wrong way, or there was no healing involved. And I'm wondering, where did the flip happen? Right? Because somewhere along the lines, it flipped into we're triggered, so we need healing. We're broken in some way mentally, so we need healing. And definition is a really powerful perspective, because when you define something, now you're creating it to be. The very nature of definition is focal point, right? Is giving it life in a certain frequency. So when we define that we need healing, or that we're a healer, right? I used to define myself as a healer. Now we're defining that something needs healing because it's broken. And it's a tricky one, right? We have these words that come up and we don't second guess them. We just go with them, like it just becomes good morning, Renee. It just becomes part of our nature, because we are tribe and herd people, right? We have a collective that we tend to, our reptilian brain likes to be in the group collective and community. And so we just follow along to get along, because there is something innately within us that feels like, or has this mechanism that someone's looking after us. It's part of the tribe, part of the herd, that there is someone that's looking after us, right? Well, what if that someone made up the word healing so that we could define ourselves as broken? I'm in the middle of doing a detox. Not in the middle. This is my second day. You may have noticed, Renee did, that I have come on late for pause, because this morning I woke up with a massive headache, right? What I'd call a splitting headache, and that's not usual for me. However, I didn't do a lot of prep to get into moving into the detox. It's only a 7-day one, and it's a bit of a liver cleanse. And the reason I do this, so I came on late because I had some, I have this lemon water with turmeric in it that goes in, and it's 1,000 times more bioavailable, and so the inflammation left. But I rested and I honoured my body, which I did yesterday as well. knowing that this is just something I'm doing to clean up my system. We, when you look at it from a scientific point of view, everything has a vibration, but energy is frequency and vibration, right? It has form and it has tone to it. And when something vibrates at a lower frequency, it tends to weigh us down. Emotions like anger, frustration, despair, sadness, grief, all of those energies are lower vibrational energies. Anger is getting up there because it's going out instead of down and depressing. Anger is like almost like the bridge to hope, because anger is a burst of energy. However, those vibrations, those lower vibrations, can get stuck in our body from previous unconscious thoughts, unconscious behaviors, unconscious patterns, all of those things. And we can get stuck in them and don't even know we've got them. We just got them in our cells and our body because of the foods that we're eating, toxins that are in our foods, in our water, in the air that we're breathing, in the environment, all of the things, the products that we put on. Even when you're toxic free as much as you can, we're still bombarded with chemicals every single day. And so, like, I went and put petrol in my car yesterday. You're getting the fumes from the petrol, and those fumes are xenoestrogens, right? So they're mimicking estrogen, and as you breathe them in, they're causing disruptions in your hormone system. So all of this stuff in our modern society that's supposed to be, technologically advanced is ruining our natural body and supporting us to be at a lower frequency. So it's not about healing the body, it's about being aware of what you're choosing. What am I choosing to experience? Am I choosing to live in blissful ignorance, and therefore the consequences of that are feeling depressed, feeling run down, lack of energy, mood swings, foggy brain? Now, all of those things, are they congruent to having love, nurturing, support, connection? They, attracting the love of your life? Are they? I want to ask you that question, because they're not necessarily, right? So this is where we do the work, if you want to call it work. We do the work to support ourselves to be in alignment with who we choose to be. Who is it that we really want to attract into our life? The love, the nurturing, the support, the tender care, the intimacy, the wholesomeness of a relationship, all of those things. Then we have to have a congruent energetic field to support that and to attract that into our body. So, I do a detox whenever I, at least once a year. And when I first moved down to Sydney, I actually stopped. I was doing it religiously before I moved to Sydney. And then in this last 9-year cycle, I moved down to Sydney, and everything sort of stopped, and I found myself wading through the emotional energy of releasing karmic ties and family patterns and vibrations that weren't congruent with where I want to go. Because personally, I'm in the trajectory of ascension, moving into fifth dimension. I pretty much stay at fifth dimension, and then I drop down because I'm human. However, fifth dimension is where I want to stay on a regular basis. And because we're human, we have these things that come up that are part of our process, in a want of a better word, correction, to correct the vibrations or the distortions that are in the field that are getting in the way of us keeping that ascension pure, clean, high vibe, and attracting everything that we want in our life. And that's what the journey is, right? We're on this journey to become more of ourselves, attain more light, be a higher vibration, support more of the people in the human race to elevate into that higher frequency and to live the heaven on earth that is in all the biblical text, right? And so the other part of this that I want to share is on Thursday, it's in my diary, on Thursday, 5 years ago, I had a brain tumor operation, right? And I was looking at that and feeling into that, and it's really interesting. Like, I had a 4.5 centimeter brain tumor. It was the size of a freaking little plum or big plum. My daughter found a plum because when I got home, I was like desperate for yummy food because I'd been doing so much juicing and fasting and, you know, cleaning up my diet while I was in that process. And it was this big, it was huge, right? In the back of my head. And I was thinking about it yesterday because I saw it in my diary and I went, oh wow, 5 years ago. And maybe that's part of what this release is, an emotional release that's going on in my body. The cells still holding on to the memory of that. And I was going through, you know, you pick up all of these little pieces and you remember the process. And one of the things that about being in the fifth dimension is unity consciousness and not seeing something and defining it as a negative experience. And this is so different to what normal behavior in society, in third dimension, you know, where we feel separate, we feel like we're individuals that are, you know, going about this, and we're on this lonely journey and all the things. When we're doing that, we go into this space of this happened to me and that happened to me and woe is my life, right? And we tend to, or I've noticed that people tend to hold on to the bad or difficult things and hold on to that story as if it's some sort of an excuse to let go, of not being able to let go and move into the next frequency. Why did you have that experience, right? Like, we all have them. We all have these wild experiences. Why did we have it? Because life's happening for us, not to us. And so whatever reason I had that experience, and you know, there's a family energetic experience to the brain tumor that I won't bring up because I'm on my public page, and you know, others might not want me to bring up the story, but there you know, like it to me there was a karmic experience to it. But because I didn't define it as I needed healing, because I didn't go into the thing of feeling ashamed that I'm you know, supposed to be this miraculous, you know, healer or counsel or sage or whatever you want to call the definition, because isn't it interesting, we all call ourselves healers now, but even as I speak, using the word as wise woman, sage, or shaman feels a little bit uncomfortable, because people will then judge that, you know, like, who does she think she is, right? Like, it's really interesting, all of these little tiny nuances within our system. When I went through that process, it was an unbelievable journey. I absolutely enjoyed every single minute of it, which is crazy to hear. Other than I had this, it was a real challenge, the whole experience of I had this pain in the back of my head, and it was through COVID, right? So I was dealing with it, and just thought it was hormonal, didn't know exactly what it was, and was doing my best to work out what it was without any guidance. Grabbing this, grabbing that, and I tried a lot of things, even thought that it was something to do with my jaw. All of the things that was going on. But when I made the decision to go to the doctor, it was like this moment in time and space that went, right, we're here, we're with you, let's go. Because my higher self went from this moment that I went, I'm going to the doctor, and I looked it up on Google, right? What's my closest, because I didn't have a local doctor that I knew. Rang up, like this is just at the end of COVID, where people were still wearing masks and people were still hard to get into the medical centers and all that sort of stuff. Rang up my local doctor and got an appointment that day. Just happened to get an appointment with a GP that had been in neurosurgery prior for like 5 years. He picked it up straight away. He said, you need to go to it and have a CT scan the next day, which was Friday. They picked it up straight away, rings me up and say, go to emergency, you've got this big piece of fruit in your head, right? The doctor says to me, pack your bags, there's no way there's going to be a neurosurgeon on Friday afternoon in emergency. So I pack my bags and I go in. Who's there but a neurosurgeon? Walks in, does all the tests on me, looks at me and says, how does someone like you have something like this in their head? He said, the size of that tumour, you should be having balance and coordination issues. You should be having blackouts and seizures like this, and you're having headaches. Like, what the, right? Allowed me to go home. I had 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, to work out if I was going to do their route or my route, right? And my higher self said, get it out. So I went in on Monday. I forgot all of my chemical-free shampoo and conditioner and all the things. Walk into the little toilet shower area of the ward, and someone's left Manuka honey shampoo and conditioner there, right? Ready for me. The last nurse in the ward that I saw, her name was Angel. Angel? Angel, no abbreviation. She wasn't Angela, nothing. Her name was Angel. The nurse that I opened my eyes to, her name was Crystal. I had no pain whatsoever. They were all like, going, how come you've got no pain? I had no pain. Was up within the day, washing my hair, showering by myself. I had 2 private rooms when I didn't have any health insurance. Like, all of these things that happened were unbelievable mouth-dropping experiences, because I didn't define myself as broken. I didn't define myself as needing healing. I didn't define this as, holy shit, this is happening to me and they're going to cut my head open. Like, there was someone in my life at the time that was saying you should do a will, and what about your organs? And I went, oh, I'm not dying. Like, I'm not going to die from this, because there was nothing in me that was in fear. I just knew that something big was happening, and I had to follow the directions and the guidance of my higher self. Now, some of those things that happened, like having no pain, was because I detox every, quarter, 6 months, at least once a year, and had been doing it for a long time. So even my physical body was prepared for the onslaught of all of the things that go on with this type of operation, right? There was preparation prior that I didn't even know I was preparing for, but I was preparing for it because I was listening to the directions of my guidance, my internal system, right? So there is no healing unless you're cut, like the body heals itself. However, we don't need to heal ourselves. I want you to think about yourself right now. You are in the position you are right now with the information that you have, and you're dealing with things the way you can with the level of consciousness that you've got, right? Based on your old behaviors, your old patterns, family generational ways of being, all of those things. And we have the ability to continuously grow, learn, explore, be more, share more light, access more light, be the creator, be limitless. We have the ability to be extremely powerful beings. And all we've got to do is make that choice. We've got to choose to be someone that is growing and expanding and letting go of the old things that no longer serve, the frequencies within the body that are distortions in our field, because as we let go of these distortions and shift them, the frequency changes and we become more and more attuned to the light, right? And we can access and have higher capacity to hold the light within us and shine. And guys, like I'm not Christian. I'm not religious. I've read the Bible 3 times though. This is what Jesus was talking about, right? This is, he was talking about unconditional love, non-judgment, compassion, and understanding. He was talking about being at one with the Father, his Father, right? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, right? I just read a reel that was saying that is, even that has been distorted because when it was transferred from Aramaic into Greek and Latin, the information was interpreted incorrectly. But it's all about being the cosmic universe, right? The more we are here, and Jesus came down, as did other masters and ascended masters, right? These high vibrational beings came down to share the information that we are way more than what we realize we are. We don't need healing. We are not broken. We just need to be aware and define ourselves as limitless, powerful, energetically magnetic, right? And recognize that all the things that we are have in our life, whatever's going on in your life right now, you have created it. You are the one that created this to happen in your life. So instead of looking at it and going into survival mode, what are you doing about it? How are you going to define yourself in relationship with what's going on so that you can move into being more and more of the light, shining like the Ascended Masters? Because they didn't say, you can't get there, you've got to put me on a pedestal and praise me because I'm the one that got there and you didn't. They did not say that. And I know that might be controversial, but they didn't say that. They were saying, come, we look at what we're doing. Learn from us. We're here to guide you because you have just as much power as we do. Now, whether everyone gets to experience that power in this lifetime or not is a different thing, a different story. But we have the power to make little incremental changes in our life to become more magnetically attractive to all of the things that we want in our life. And sometimes that means releasing and detoxing the body so that the body can support us to raise our vibration and to move into a place where we're not craving those you know, foods that are holding us down and keeping us heavy. We're elevated and feeling like, you know, drinking water instead of soft drink, for example. Having things that are holding us down, but moving into a space of the lighter things that are a better choice for who we want to become. So that's me, feeling better. Second day. Know that there's still stuff coming out. I'm feeling a little bit better than yesterday. Yesterday I was feeling really shitty. I ended up going and seeing my mum yesterday than trying to work because, yeah, I'm not in the vibration as I'm shedding this vibrational, because when you're doing a detox, you're shedding vibrational energy as well as emotions as well as physical stuff. So I thought I'll go for a drive, an hour and a half in the car by myself, listen to podcasts, get into the space of just being, a little bit of self-care and nurturing. Went and hung out with mum, knowing that I will be in a way better space in the next couple of days and I'll be able to smash everything that I need to do. So have you got your ticket to our 9-year vision map? It's coming up on the 28th, I think, or the 26th. I really should check that before I come on. We'll put the link in the comments to reverse engineer, but all from an energetic place. And it's going to be super fun. So I will catch you on the next call. Take care.